Well guys, good morning and welcome back to another video. I've decided to do a video today. I'm out on the streets of downtown. Now I've been out of late, so any of those images, I'm going to be able to show you those images. So I've brought two lenses with us today. I've got the 14mm and the 85mm. So what I'm going to be able to do today, I'm going to be able to give you some great ideas, some tips, some techniques of when I would choose one lens over the other. So I'm going to get on. I'm nearly at my first location that I want to photograph. So I'm going to make a way around there and we'll see how we get on. So I've came to the first location that I want to try for some images, and I'm going to choose the 14mm for this alleyway. Now the thing with using the 14mm in the alleyway is because you're including a lot more, you get the natural framing using the sides of the walls, so it frames the shot really nice. Now, as I said before, we've had overnight rain, there's some puddles on the floor. I want to get really close to those puddles with the 14mm. And because I've got the A7R5 now, I can use that swivel screen and really get low down without having to put the camera to my eye, so that's great. I've took a quick look in the parking lot behind us, and you'll be able to see you've got this wire mesh and it's painted the same colours as the alleyway. So what I want to do is I want to make my way into that parking lot and photograph it from the opposite side, photographing people passing through. Now I think it'll make for a totally different image, some nice vertical lines, some nice horizontal lines. So that's another image that I want to try. Now those who remember previous videos, I took a shot where I photographed through these bike racks. I was really pleased with the shot. It was a great shot to capture. Now what I wanted to do today is I wanted to take a similar shot using different bike racks. So that's what I'm going to show you. Now the bike racks I've got in front of us, there's three of them, and I'm going to use those three using that 14mm again. Going to focus on the sidewalk itself. I'm not too bothered about the beginning of the shot, about the bike racks being out of focus, because they're literally going to create some nice shapes, and then you're going to have a tunnel vision through to the subject on the sidewalk. You've got these really interesting glass panels on the side of the building here, and you've got some nice artificial lighting on the floor around these boulders, so it creates some nice contrast with that artificial light. Now what I need is some light spill to come in here. I want a subject coming out this building. So I'm going to get back and try these first couple of images, wait for some more sunshine. Really need some sunshine for the second image to work. And then what we'll do is we'll move on. I'll probably swap out for the 85, see if I can get some shots with the 85. So I've been using the 14mm for the time being, just waiting for more of that sunshine. Now when we get more of that sunshine, what I want to do is I want to utilise the shadows on the ground, the highlights on the ground, and a good way of doing that is getting really close. Now what that creates is it creates some nice scale to the image. Your subject doesn't always have to be large in the scene. Utilising the sides of these alleyways, looking at people and subjects walking at the end of the alleyways, they're only going to be small, but it gives the image scale and it really shows off the area as a whole. So I've swapped out to the 85mm now, and the reason being I want to show you that you can use the 85 in pretty much the same way as I've been using the 14mm. Now the 85mm, I generally use it as a walkabout lens, portraiture style, looking for interesting subjects, utilising subjects within light. So I'm just going to make a way up this alleyway that I'm heading up now, see if we can find some interest and see how I can show you how to use the 85mm in pretty much the same way. So I've came to the next area and I've found some interest where I can use the 85mm pretty much in the same way as I was using the 14mm earlier. It's the inclusion of bike racks again, but the nice interesting bike racks. So what I'm going to do is photograph through them and wait for the subject in the background to walk through. Now I'm manually focusing on that background, so any subjects walking through that background, they're going to be in focus. Now I'm literally using the bike racks for the shape. You know, it doesn't matter that they're out of focus, it's just creating interest. Now because I'm photographing through these bike racks and I'm using that longer focal length, it's actually going to compress the scene, so it's going to become one. And all I'm after is the shape itself. I'm not bothered if it's in focus. And then what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to go to the opposite side, because this side of the bike rack's in shade. I'm going to photograph in a different direction, so it's just going to give us a different look. One's going to be lighter and the other one's going to be darker. Now found some shadows in front of us and it looks great. What it is, you've got this tree behind us, and what it's doing, it's creating its shadows on the wall opposite, because we've got that sunlight coming in behind us and it's hitting the wall behind. But there's some lovely contrast there, some really nice interesting shapes with the use of the branches that's silhouetted on the side of this wall. So what I've decided to do, because I want to get nice and close to that foreground and I want more in focus, I've swapped out to the 14mm again, because what I want to do is I want to create framing at the bottom of the shot using this seating area, and then just simply wait for a subject to walk through the shot. But it looks great. It's just great to have that light. I always like light to work with. Now what I've decided also to do with this shot, because I'm shooting it with the 14mm and I like the silhouette of the branches and the contrast so much, I'm also going to get a bit further back and swap out for the 85mm, and I think it'll be a good comparison to show you the difference shooting the same scene with different focal lengths. Now the area that I'm at today, I actually came close to this area. Now it was St. Patrick's Day, great example of using the 85mm, and they're the type of occasions that I definitely take that lens along. I can get in close to subjects without encroaching on them. You know, I can just stand back, watch everyone enjoying themselves. So I hope you enjoyed those last few images. I was able to give you an example of using the 14mm and the 85mm for photographing the same scene. And then you got to see some of the images that I've took with the 85 from St. Patrick's Day. So I'm just going to have a nice walk around the city, see what I can come across, and I'll show you the images along the way. So I hope it's given you some good tips and good examples on how to use different focal lengths, especially when you're using the ultra wide lens versus that longer lens. So I'm going to carry on and see what else we can come across and just enjoy the rest of the day. So I've came to an area here, I've moved a bit further along, getting some lovely blue sky now, so we're getting those high contrast scenes. And I've came to this stairway. Now I've been to this stairway many times before, and I'm always interested to see how the light's here. And there's some nice light at the top, there's a nice pocket of light. And what I want that light for is I want the subject to walk into that light. Now I'm making sure to include everything, so I put the 14mm on and I'm going to get really close to the floor, and that's going to create a leading line towards the railings. Now the railings is just adding interest. We've got some nice clean vertical lines behind. Now I'm actually making sure that I've got some dead space, a blank area of space at the top of the stairs to the right hand side, because that's where I want the subject to walk. So when it comes to lens choice, what I'll generally do is I'll work with the lens that I've got on my camera. So if it's a 14mm, I'll spend a certain amount of time with the 14mm, so I'm not swapping out lenses all the time. The 14mm, I'll be looking for images where I can include a lot more. Now the 85mm, it's a great walkabout lens for those street portrait style shots. You can really single subjects out, and it's a great lens just to walk about with. So not only are the prime lenses lighter, smaller, they're a lot faster as well. You've got those wider apertures. I've got the Zeiss Batis 85mm with us today. It's 1.8, so it's great for the evening shots in that low light, but it's also great for my video work. I do a lot of video work with my landscape photography using different cameras, and those lenses come in really handy because your quality is really good in low light. Now we've got these bike racks here, some nice bright red colours here. We've got the bike wheels themselves, and then we've got the spokes. So what I want to do is I want to use that longer focal length to shoot through part of the bike wheel itself over to the sidewalk in the background, and I think it really works. Now I'm going to shoot really wide open. I'm going to shoot wide open at 1.8, really blurred out that foreground. It's going to compress the scene, and it's just going to create a nice shape, nice framing to a subject walking through the background. Now because of the wide aperture, you're actually not going to be able to make the spokes out, but you'll clearly see the person. The main thing you'll see is the framing to the left hand side, and then the bike tire itself, that's going to curve round to the right hand side, and you're going to have the subject and the interest in the centre. It's just another creative idea to try with that longer focal length at those wider apertures. Well guys, it has came to the end of today's video. I hope you've enjoyed it. It's been a brilliant day out in downtown, just exploring the streets, trying those two different focal lengths. Now, using the ultra wide angle lens today, I could get really creative, move about a lot. Remember, prime lenses get you to move about. And then I switched to the 85, went for the more portraiture style shots. Still getting close to foregrounds, but just creating a different look by having the foregrounds out of focus. But it's been great, and I hope it's gave you some good examples of the wider focal length versus the longer focal length for doing street photography. They both work great, so get out and try them. Now, it is spring now, we've got summer coming up. I'm looking forward to those months because it's great for street photography. So if you're in downtown Vancouver, you live here or you're here visiting over the next few months, get in touch. I do one-to-one workshops, and I'd be more than happy to take you out and show you the sights of downtown at the same time. So you can head over to my website, brybarnham.com, take a look and get your workshop booked. Now, I do know that Adam's back from the UK now, so there's a good chance I'm going to be heading over to Vancouver Island pretty soon. So stay tuned for that. But it's been a brilliant day out. Don't forget to give the video a thumbs up, guys. Leave a comment below, let us know which focal length you prefer. Did you prefer the shots with the wider focal length, or did you prefer the shots with the 85mm? So until next time, thanks for watching. Stay tuned for future videos, and I'll see you again soon.